I had a session with Roger earlier in the week on canvases, and there's just a couple of points to run over with you. To add a canvas, which you can then use as your tracing, it's insert, down the canvas. I go from the computer and we'll pick up that one there, and then it does go, you pick your frame and it's in there. I will say okay. Now let's get a front view, and you want to now make this the right length, of course. So the answer is to go up here on the canvas, find the one you want, right click on it, calibrate, and then let's go over the buffers, and we're going to go from that point to that point. At the moment it's 16 millimeters. I think we worked it out to be at 130 when Roger and I were looking at it. So type in 130, and that will enlarge your drawing to the size that you can now use that. So if you do a sketch and you do a sketch on that plane, you can now sort of trace around the windows or anything else you want to do. And just while I'm doing that one, just a point I covered with Roger as well, is that we want to put a fillet on those two, and we want a fillet of that amount. Now, as I explained, if you, and it's a recap really, don't press escape, enter, or any other key. Once you've put that in, you can come over to here and you can do as many as you like. But the minute you press enter or escape, you've got to start again. So if you want the same radius on lots of them, you've put the radius on. Let's just go back through that for you. So fillet, there, type in what you want or move the arrow, whichever prefers you. When you've got what you want, you then move on to the next lines. And that applies with extrusions as well. So I'm not going to go through the detail of copying this, but you can see how you can copy it on the canvas. You can right click on it. I'll come out the sketch mode first. You can then right click on the canvas, and another one that's handy is editing, which can be useful if you need to get it parallel again, and you can also change the opacity of it, because obviously as you start, you might want to put that lighter so it's easier to keep to see what you're drawing. But that's a very quick recap. What I want to go on to now is some of the work that we were doing. Now is it, that's the coach one, that's not it, must be that one then. And this was one that Roger sent me drawing, loco with front, back, side and top elevations. So that was on one sheet. So the first thing I did was to put that into a graphics program and create separate drawings. I was then able to insert, using that command, insert canvas, 4 canvases. And you can see how they are. Now what this enables you to do is to start drawing. So you could go on this one and draw in the boiler box or the box on the side here, and then once it's drawn in, of course, you can go to the front action and pull it out. So it does excuse me, it does get confusing obviously, so it's important that with these ones you do name them. I know I'm not very good at naming, but on this, so you catch off that you're not actually working on, which starts to make life a little bit easier. So I've got one somewhere here. Let's see, where did I put it? Oh, it was, or was it on this one? Oh, it was on this one anyway. Switch the body on and you can see what I've done there. Let's put them all on so you can see. So you can see there we've started doing this logo that Roger sent me. And you can see how it started to take shape. Now, this was done very roughly when we were on Zoom the other night. We didn't really worry about whether we had it spot on or so forth. It is feasible to do. It's it's not that difficult once you get the hang of it. Basically, what you're doing is a reverse to the engineering drawing. Is that you can see, if I put the sketches on, which further complicates it, you can see on the top I've done the sketches for the dome and the sketches for the chimney, and then you just extrude them by reference. Let's turn off some of those body bits a minute so we can see. You just extrude them down with reference to your side elevation. How accurate you want to be is entirely up to you. Bearing in mind at 00 gauge, if you're half a millimetre or even a millimetre out, no one's going to notice in that sense. But you can obviously be as accurate as you like, which I'm not going to go into now because you can all work that out for yourself, really. So yes, you can put as many drawings in, but as you start, and then on the end one, what we did there very briefly was we used that guard there to create that panel on the back of the engine. Now what I would do with that one, of course, I wouldn't try and copy all the grid work, so we'd switch off the end panel, which is that one, and then I would go onto there and create a sketch on there, etc. So I'm not suggesting copy everything in that sense. What I am doing is suggesting that certainly you can get the outlines from it and work on the outlines. In the case of this cab, what we did there was to take the outline. Let me just get it for you. I'll just switch them off. I drew this outline and everything else. I then extruded it both ways, because don't forget, the side loco is actually in the center of the drawing. So I extruded it both ways out to here, and then the inside I went on here and drew a sketch on here with a 3mm offset, so it started inside the cab and then moved it back to hollow the cab out, if you like. Now I'm not going to go through all those techniques because we've covered all of them in detail in the past. If there's specific questions, then we can go answer them or go through them in future weeks. But this came about, and I think the video, which is available by request, which Roger's had a link for now, I think was it 2 hours, Roger, or hour and a half? It was a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've copied it down, but I haven't tried it yet. In fact, I did it just before we
Yeah, that's fine. But you know, you can see how it is, and the only other thing I did was going back to that coach side, which is there, which I've covered before, because you've seen where I got it down. I've covered it before, haven't I, with these panels where, you know, because that's a window, that's a window, that's a window, that's a window. That's technically a window, it's just blocked in. So, and they're 3 windows, so you can do a window panel, and you've designed one panel and then done it all. And just to recap, if you remember when I showed you, where are they? Let's pull that one up a minute. That one, if you remember, was purely a panel there, multiplied 3 times. Then in this one, the window was blocked in, and then it was duplicated. So this particular coach is made up of a door panel and a side panel, and that's it. So, you know, you can do the same thing with the coach of Rogers as well. On that one I showed you, the loco's a bit different and is a completely different kettle of fish, because we've got back and front, whereas on the, I'll stop at that stage, because the idea was just to recap on what you can do with sketches. This is a particularly involved one, and certainly you would get to the stage where you might decide to add the hinge detail freehand, as it were, on here. Or what you could do is then you could move this plane back a bit. So you could go on the plane there, which is I probably haven't named them on my, so I don't know where they are now. It's probably that one. And then you know, or even on the canvas, loco front there, you can go down there, edit the canvas, and of course you can move the canvas then as well. But how you work it, I can't give you a set pattern, because every drawing is going to be different. What you want is going to be different, but you can certainly use it to give yourself, I think you can see there, a pretty good head start on getting the overall shape and ratios together.